Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I'm going to do a real quick chart lesson. I already did one post today, but it was really or I did one video for the day, but it's really for a post on the website. And I know a lot of you are eager to compare your trading results or what you saw today to what I saw, so I'm going to go ahead and do this quick chart lesson, but I'm going to keep it real brief, just show you what I saw. It was another slow day today. There were a couple of fairly good moves off this low here. And really what we did, we had this trend line coming up. We had a little minor trend line right up through here. We broke both of those trend lines. This is just a two-legged correction and a double bottom. And then we made a new high for the day, and then we trended down the rest of the day. And that is, I mean, that's perfect. That's price action trading at its best. You wait for the trend line break and then a move to a new high and then a sell off, and that's exactly what happened today. It got really, really slow and dicey in here from really about 10:30 to about 12:30. I mean, it just not many bars, no real movement. I mean, we were stuck in a 1 point range right through here until we failed out. There was really a short here, but we couldn't be sure that we weren't going to get another leg up, and so it was better to wait on this second entry short off the new high, and that happened right here, and we retested the breakout area and it held, and so it was really best to wait and enter right here. And even then it was a little bit dicey. There was a breakout pullback short right here, and then there was another two-legged pullback to the EMA right here. And but let's talk about East Trade real quick, and then I'm going to wrap this up rather quick. But the market opened right in this area right here, and you really could have entered almost anywhere right in here, so I kind of drew the circle broad here. Because you had, this is just a two-legged pullback to the EMA. Can you see that? There's one leg, then a move up, and then another leg down, and we ticked one tick lower than that, and then bounce. So you got that little short trap. So you could have gone long above these two bars. It was better to wait here, and you could have even gone long above this red bar when prices turned back up again, or above this green bar. So you could have gone long really anywhere in there. You didn't go far. As you see, your high was here. So the closer you got to that high, the more suspect the trade becomes. And the reason being is that you want to be able to easily get out of your trade with your scalp before you get to the next resistance area, which was right here. And so if you wait till you get in right here, then you don't have much room left. And you see what happened. We ticked one tick higher and then pulled back. But all we did was create another trap. And then we went higher again. But by that time, you had two legs. So it was really suspect entering in here, even though it may have worked. It was better to wait for this another two-legged pull back to the EMA and the trend line. And then you had an entry there. And then this was a breakout pullback long. We broke above this, pulled back, tested the EMA, tested the trend line, and then closed on the high. So you could have gone long right there, and it was another easy scalp. And then we went in this tight range. So we spent all that time in this little tight range, which was basically 8:50 to basically another hour. Then we broke lower, went into another little range for 30 minutes or so, and we made a little double bottom here, a little trap right here. Hopefully you can see prices. This is a two-legged pullback to the EMA that failed, so it's really a failed second entry short that reversed, and you should have been thinking long and not short anyway. And this is kind of a support area across here. You can see that we bounced there before, and then it was off to the races up to make the new high. And then once we got up in here, it was better just to sit tight. Again, there was a short right here, but it just was really suspect. But we'd been away from the EMA a long time. You had all this overlap when we broke higher, and that's generally going to give you a good short. But you see it bounced off the EMA. You didn't really have room to get out before you got back down here. And we knew there was strong support right here because we couldn't even get below it. We couldn't even get anything to close right down in this area through all that overlap. So it was suspect. But when you got a second entry, then you figure you're going to get another leg like this one. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'll just tell you this, share with you. I went short right here because I sat here and waited on all this and we broke higher, and I'm thinking this thing's going to break higher and fail and pull back down here, and we're going to trap everybody and then maybe go higher for another leg. But this turned out to be the high of the day. But what I was getting at, I went short right here, and I let them shake me out when this bounced right here, and I had a great entry, and I just let them shake me out. We didn't get our 5 ticks, and when it bounced, it scared me to death that we were going to make another leg up, and so I exited with a tick or something like that, and got out. And just no sooner than I got out, you see what happened. The bottom fell out. But there was another entry right here, and I did re-enter right there to the short side. And then there was another entry right here. This one was not as good, but it did come right off of that trend line. If you drew your trend line right down through there, you can see that it came right off that trend line there. And it is a breakout pullback short to this breakout right here. And and you're thinking by that time you're probably going to get another measured leg, because you should be thinking we're probably going to come back down here and try to test this if we get back below the EMA, and that's what happened. And we actually went a little bit lower, but we had the trend line break and the moves to the new high, and we had this failed break higher, and we had this nice, and there's really 2 legs in this right here. If you look, there's one leg, then a little correction, and then another leg, and then a failed break higher, and then another failed break higher. And so that's 3 little pushes up to a new high after the trend line break. And so this was a really nice setup, and they just, because we got stuck in this so long, and I didn't want to get stuck in that and maybe have prices even go higher, so they fooled me and I exited early and had to re-enter here again. But I think I did make a tick off that trade all the same. I think I actually entered right here, and when we made this little doji, when it ticked back down again, I took my tick and got out and called it, and then waited till we had a chance to enter. And this is a trap here too, because prices ticked higher and then turned back down and we went lower. So that was a nice little trap there. But if you missed that one, there was another chance to enter here. And then this last one, this is a 2-legged pullback to the EMA, the trend line. It should have been clear where the trend line was by that time. And there's enough room to scalp out before we get down here. So another entry right here. And so that was pretty much it for today. Again, it was not a really exciting trading day. It's real choppy. And at first I thought we were going to have one of those real choppy trends that just goes higher and higher and higher. But it just wasn't to be. We spent most of the day in this I would call it a 1402 to 1397, so maybe a 5 or 6 point trading range, and that's just not a lot of movement. And but I want to talk about one other thing. We got we're only 8 minutes here. I'm going to spend about 2 more minutes, and I'm going to call it a day. But yesterday, somebody asked me about I believe it was this trade right here. Why this trade was a good trade? Because they've heard me say don't enter in the middle of the range. Well, let me show you this. You had a trend line up through here, something like that, and then we broke it. We went back and retested it. Okay, I had a short interruption there, but we had this trend line. We had the break. We came down and tested this, and let me show you this. Your support was right along here, and then your resistance was right up here. So the trader asked me why there was a good trade right here when this is the middle of the range. And this is a range, but you got to remember we got a trend line, we had the break, we had the run to the new high, and all we could do was a double top, and then we made a higher low or a lower high right here, which is a weak sign, and we haven't made it to the low side of the range. So we're still on the way down. We're coming off the top. We're very near the top. So by entering here, you're not really entering in the middle of the range. You're taking a second entry short, because here's your first entry. And then your second entry right here, you could have entered here or here, but it's better to wait when we had this little second opportunity right here. So this is basically on a bigger picture a second entry short near the top of the range, and we got all this room to work down here. And even if you entered here, you're still on the upper 50% of the range and still expecting prices to come down here. And maybe you're really expecting prices to start a downtrend because we've had the trend line break. And if you draw your, right off those first couple of closes, you can see you had another touch right there, and we went straight down. And you should have been figuring we were at least going to test this low, and there might even been a chance we could test this one. So this is just a breakout pullback short right here. This wasn't a great setup. It was way too late, but you could have even taken this short because the trend is working down now, and it's really accelerating right in here. So for the trader that asked me about why this was a good trade when it was in the middle of the range, it's not really the middle of the range. And if you see my range bars there, hopefully you can see that this entry right in here was near the top, and even if you took this one, it's still in the 50% area and making another lower high working towards the low. Now, this is what I'm talking about. When you get in all this chop and overlap and you got all these overlapping bars, you don't want to be entering. You might enter here because this is a two-legged pullback, but you definitely don't want to be entering in here anywhere unless you're looking to the upside, because now we've come off the low and we've tested it a couple of times. So what you're looking for is you're looking for prices to go from one side of this range to the other. And so if you can get in at the right timing, close to one side or the other with plenty of room to go back to the other side, then you're probably okay. So that's why these trading right in here was okay yesterday, because of the fact that we were coming off the high, we're making a lower high, and we're looking for prices now to come back here, just like we touched up here. And look, we didn't really reverse. We tried to reverse, but we didn't really reverse till we got down here. And then we tested it again, and then we didn't really reverse from up here, going back this way again until we got up here. And then we're coming down, and you got one big leg, so you figure you're going to get another leg. And look what happens if you measure that leg. You measure one leg, and then you measure the other, and what does it give you? The bottom of the range. So you got to figure that's your target. So there's plenty of room to scalp out there. So that's why I mark that as a good trade. Now, if you're not good at reading this stuff and that doesn't really make sense to you, then no, don't take a trade in there. And now that I've reloaded my chart, there's a lot more overlapping bars than I think I saw on my chart yesterday. I would have to go back and watch the video to be certain, but it does look like a lot more overlapping bars, and this is just a breakout pullback short from breaking out of that and coming off the trend line again. So maybe the entry was there. I can't remember. I think it was here, but maybe there was one here too. So, but either way, there's still not bad entries when you're looking for a measured move back down to here, and we actually went a little bit lower, but you see that's where we found the resistance, and it turned into a breakout pullback short and went lower. So we got a big broad double top up here. We've had a break of the trend line. So you need to be thinking that we're headed lower here and not necessarily, it could be a range, and that's why you got to have room to scalp out, but you should be thinking, hey, we're probably going to start trending lower now. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.